Panera's lemonade that kills you is now linked to a second death due to their beverage. The first one was a college student who had a special condition with her heart, and because of the massive amount of caffeine, sadly passed away. But the second individual was just a normal person with relatively high blood pressure, which means officially the only reason you should be drinking this lemonade that kills you is if you want to die.
That's a lot of nuts!
Damn it! Transition. I had to order one of these lemonades for the joke in the beginning from Uber Eats, and when I was ordering it, they actually have a warning on Uber Eats that says, yo, be careful when ordering this. Don't drink it if you're pregnant or have a weak heart, and a list of other things. And when my Uber driver delivered it to me, he said, hey man, be careful with this drink. It's basically a large coffee. And I was like, yo, I appreciate you trying to save my life, but I'm not giving you a tip.
Next meme.
I don't mean for this to come off like I'm making fun of those that have passed away due to this unfortunate situation. This isn't a case of the consumer being unaware of the correct use of what they're buying. It's not like the girl who used super glue as wig glue and then caused a whole media storm, okay? The reality of the situation is that this beverage that has 400 milligrams of caffeine, just shy of 2 full cans of Monster, is something that you can serve yourself. It's right next to the water fountains. It's right next to the soda fountains. You get free refills when you buy one of these, and it's only in small text at the bottom of the giant signs in colorful colors that let you know that this thing has that much caffeine. And unfortunately, some individuals were unaware, such as one Ivy League college student who had a heart condition and was completely unaware that this thing had the equivalent of 2 full cans of Monster in it, as well as another individual who thought it was just any old lemonade and drank 3 full large cups of this, totaling up to about 1,100 milligrams of caffeine. That's the equivalent of like 6 cans of Monster. That motherfucker must have felt like Faker in the Worlds Tournament.
Transition.
The reality is that the drink isn't that crazy. 380 milligrams in the equivalent of 30 ounces is the equivalent of like cold brew coffee. Maybe a little bit stronger, but the fact that it's got 2 times the amount of caffeine as a can of Monster only sounds crazy when you don't factor in the fact that a large drink is about the size of 2 cans of Monster. This is just an energy drink. They just don't do a good job of advertising it. So feel free to go and get one. Be careful if you have a heart condition, but if you're a normal cold brew drinker or a normal Red Bull drinker, like this isn't going to do much for you. I wish it did, because with all the news around this drink, I was expecting something more like
Everybody in the area ain't in the city, call me 60.
Transition.
The drink has been announced by Panera for the better part. I think it launched in 2022, which means it's been around for about a year. 2 people dying over the course of a year doesn't sound like a lot, but it's more than 0. And the fact that I bought this an hour ago and it's still blatantly advertising that you should go and get yourself a charged lemonade shows that at least at this point they aren't taking it very seriously. In fact, all the claims and the lawsuits that have been pushed against Panera has just been like, listen, we apologize, we feel bad for the families, but it definitely has nothing to do with our lemonade. They're taking no blame for the deaths of the 2 people so far. And this isn't the first time, right? I've got a morbid curiosity when it comes to the sorts of foods that have led to mass hysteria, deaths, injuries, because they're all very famous examples. You guys all know Kinder Surprise eggs. Everybody loves to make fun of Americans for having this completely outlawed. The sort of ongoing myth is that a bunch of people in America died from just shoving these in their mouth and then choking on the toy that's on the inside, when in reality, from the 5 minutes of Googling that I've done, 3 people died in the UK, 1 unfortunately in France, totaling a total of like 10 deaths total amongst young children, which is sad, but I don't think any of them occurred in the United States. In fact, the reason that they're outlawed in the United States is because of a poisonous medication that was advertised towards children that killed 100 people back in 1930-something. The Kinder Surprise eggs are banned completely unrelated to the fact that they have toys in them. Not to mention, at least 3 of the examples that I found, again from 5 minutes of Googling, showed evidence that the children ate the candy and then just ate the toys afterwards. Like, they weren't tricked into swallowing something that wasn't food. They were just young kids doing what young kids do. I guess you shouldn't have toys with small parts anywhere near food to confuse the kid, but like, literal news articles have said that the fact that the toy was inside the candy probably made no difference because the kids just ate the candy and then started eating the toy afterwards. When it comes to young children, it's better to be safe than to be sorry. If you want to just make a situation where Kinder now can't put toys in chocolate, I'm all for it. I don't care. It's just less work for me to get to the chocolate. Not that I've ever choked on the toy when trying to eat. I was in a rush, okay? What I find fascinating is the fact that you can buy puffer fish still. One Google search, fugu kills an average of 3 people a year. It says 0 to 6. I'm going to average it out to 6. It hospitalizes between 30 and 60 people a year, and it's still considered a delicacy. The thing's mostly poison. You have to have an actual certificate. You have to go through classes to even be allowed to access the fish. When you're dissecting it in a kitchen, all the poisonous parts need to be put in a separate container and then taken away by poison control. They have to have special knives and cutting boards that are only for fugu, and they still fuck up an average of 6.8% of the time. Why is this still allowed? I'm sure you guys are all thinking, Sumito, what about Four Loko? And I'm gonna be honest, this one you can blame on Americans, because this was just stupid. A Four Loko is about 24 ounces, slightly less than one of these cups, large cups of charged lemonade. A Four Loko was 12% alcohol by volume. At 24 ounces, that's the equivalent of 4 beers. And the original, now banned recipe had 60 grams of sugar and 158 milligrams of caffeine. That is the equivalent of 4 beers, 2 Red Bulls, and the thing that made it crazy was not only the fact that you could get caffeine and 4 beers in one can, they were $3. They were 3 something with tax. I Googled how many Four Lokos do you need to have to get alcohol poisoning? The answer is 2. You could get a 7-Eleven hot dog and alcohol poisoning for $10 back in 2010. How the fuck did anybody survive this? I've had a Four Loko once in my life. I tasted it and I thought, hey, this is pretty good. And I remembered nothing else from that day. This one is one of my favorites because it eludes me. I can't find this. I don't think they make it anymore, but this is a large chocolate Oreo shake from Dairy Queen, or from Baskin-Robbins, sorry. I can't find this anywhere. The Oreo Blizzard isn't as potent as this is. Do you see the nutritional facts? This beverage, which is, it's the size of one of these, has 2,600 calories. 2,600, more than the daily nutritional average for most people. This is as close as you can get to taking a bite out of uranium. And I don't think they make it anymore. I've had a Four Loko. I've had Kinder Surprise Eggs. You just saw me drink the charged lemonade. I don't think they make this thing anymore. Probably for good reason, but fuck. Just last week, IKEA made an announcement on Instagram that if you follow their page, like the tweet, and let them know that you want one, they're giving away 30 turkey-sized meatballs. One gigantic meatball that they say can serve 25 people as one giant meatball. It says that the competition is only running until midnight tonight, the 12th. So go try and win one. If you do, send me a picture. If I can't buy it, I can't get it. Yet another thing that makes me infinitely sad, but gigantic meatball. If that doesn't kill you, hitting the like button probably won't kill you either. If you subscribe, you can get me in your inbox every week. It means a ton to me. Shout out to the patron scrolling in the back. I'll catch you guys on next week's episode, yeah? Peace.